Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Studio 70. I'm Shirak.
And I'm
As
as you
you
and
show off.
and what show up.
Oh,
Hey,
I
you
think I
got
got you that
you
hat
got
though.
me that hat. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Oh.
Oh, we'll straighten this out when we get back. Welcome to another episode of Studio 70. Today is going to be a good one because it's going to be, we got to put our thinking caps on. But before we get started, Shirak, what do you got?
Yes, so this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do your own research and always be kind to everyone.
Yes, thank you. And just to let you guys know that we're looking for you to subscribe, because if we get to 1,000 subscribers, we are going to Colorado in the fall and going to cover the Watts and more few cases out there.
Comment and share with
So
friends.
we will know that if we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll definitely do that. So we're hoping to do that by summertime, if we or sooner, and get out there. So that'd be great. We really appreciate you guys.
and
And
share with friends.
share with friends, definitely. Absolutely. And today we're talking about where is Jennifer Dulos. Now, this one may not be a long episode per se because there's still not a lot of evidence or a lot of information. I think some of it's being withheld because, they haven't found her yet and they want to kind of keep things a little bit close. So, in any event, I think for us, we should start from the very beginning. When in my IT world, when we have a problem, we always start with, okay, where did it kind of last begin? Where did it end? Kind of work our way in the middle and try to debug this thing basically. And that's kind of like we're going to use that kind of methodology here to step in. But before we do that, we want to mention our crime case, virtual crime case that we do here in our show. So basically what it is for the new people is for each case we cover, we have a virtual board that we basically fill out based on facts, what we feel confident about, and more importantly, we go out to the community in the community area of the YouTube channel, our channel, and we put a poll out there, and then based on the results, we kind of fill in this board. So it's like us kind of building as a community what we're thinking is going on in the case.
Right. And just to give a little bit of quick background, I know people, this is your first time watching. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jennifer Dulos. She was missing May 24th, 2019. And of course, we seen the suspect, and the person was her husband and Michelle.
And Michelle. Yeah, based
so
on
just a little bit of
that's a good point. So
background.
basically that middle part community vote, what it means is that based on the votes that came in from our poll, you guys feel that those two are definitely involved. You're not saying that necessarily Ken is, but really those are the main two suspects. So, and Ken's coming up soon with his trial, and then Michelle is going to get in a couple months going to be sentenced. So first, Shirak, I wanted to have us start with some basic logical questions. And I know this sounds really basic, but let's start because this to me is amazing. Like in terms of poof, it's like she vanished, but there's all this evidence. So the first place to start was the body moved off of the Jennifer Dulos property? If no, then most likely she's somewhere on the property, logically. And I say most likely because I don't want to get too far in speculation because this one's tough because we don't have enough evidence or facts. So we have to use logic, and we're getting a little bit into the speculation side of things. But I mean, it could be possible she could have been left there and something happened at a later time and then was moved off of the property. That's why I say most likely. But logic would dictate.
But you have to also think about it this way too. You're saying they're on the property and then move later. You have to remember, if she's dead, odor comes with that. There's always other senses actually pick that up. So something has to be disposed right away. I mean, it's not like I killed anyone, but I do.
unless there's other, and that takes time for that. And then also too, there's other ways like wine. But you're right. I mean, but just starting with the basics, if she wasn't, if the body wasn't moved off the property, then most likely she's there. I know it sounds silly to say it like that, but it's possibility it could have been moved later, as we're saying, but it's probably very unlikely. if she was moved off the property. And this is why we say yes and no, because we know Fotis took, well, allegedly it was Fotis, someone took Jennifer's Suburban 2017 off of the property, right?
Yes.
So we know shortly after they're thinking where the murder was or took place, that Suburban left.
Yep.
So if we're saying that if the body was moved off, most likely it would have been in a Suburban, because the Suburban did have traces of blood. And I'm jumping ahead, but we'll get there. But it did have traces of blood, and it did have some things that may make it seem like it's possible that she could have been transported off there. So all we're saying is that if she was in that Suburban, she probably was somewhere on the property,
Right.
most likely.
And the
There's always those
DNA, her
possibilities.
DNA was on the bourbon, so we just want to make sure that's
Yeah.
from the affidavit. That's our resource.
And was the body moved to the red Tacoma truck? And we'll talk about that too. If no, then most likely she would probably be at the park somewhere where the red truck was located. And unless, of course, there's all these. I don't want to go too far into speculation and feelings, because you can go crazy. You can say, okay, did you meet somebody at the park? Blah, 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 blah. Again, we'll start with basics. If the body was moved to the red truck, then she could be anywhere, right? I mean, if once they got her into the red truck and got to all these different locations, which we'll talk about, she literally could be anywhere. But if not, then it could lend to that she could be in the park somewhere.
Yes.
So I know it sounds we were starting from the very beginning here and starting with this basic questioning, but you have to, because this gets so confusing, as you've seen from all the drivers and all the wherever.
This is very convoluted.
Yeah. So let's time wise. Well, Jennifer's house is in New Canaan, Connecticut, and then we know that there was movement to the park. I mean, I know I started here because this is where they feel confident the murder happened.
Yes.
Then it was at the park. Then went to that 80 Mountain Spring Road area in Farmington, and then back and forth to Jefferson Crossing, excuse me. And then we don't know if they're somewhere else. I mean, they track these vehicles to a certain length, but even in the court documents, it feels like some things were left out. And I don't know if they have that information and they're keeping it, or if that's all the tracking information they have. So I just put somewhere else, because they could have went other places, which I don't know. But as far as time is concerned, Fotis Dulos had to work, in that location. So basically what I'm saying here is that he roughly had 2 hours at Jennifer's house. If it was Fotis, allegedly, we're allegedly saying Fotis right now. So if Fotis got there on the bike, had almost 2 hours to do everything. Now that would theoretically be commit the act, which could have took minutes, because, surprise her right away. And, also, the cleanup could take a while, but that's still 2 hours. That's substantial.
Yes.
Now, based on the court documents, what says in the affidavit, the time frame is that Suburban left, I believe it was 12:25 or 12:26, and I think about I should have pulled up the actual amounts, but maybe like 15 minutes later, let's just say, they saw the red truck to come already on Route 15 heading north. So that one gave about, like, if you figure the travel just a couple minutes to get to the park and then to get on the highway is very close by. So these are only just a matter of a couple minutes, maybe about 12 minutes at the park. And that's being generous. That's probably the most. So that could mean, and remember, it was kind of like somewhat in a public area. I mean, where he parked was, I don't want to, it wasn't really wide open, but it wasn't really.
They found the vehicle right away. It's not like it was hitting somewhere.
Yeah.
So, it was
So
like
I mean, to carry a body would be really ballsy and gutsy to do that. I mean, it was probably just enough to transfer, like a lot of the cleanup stuff, because we know obviously that cleanup stuff had to come from somewhere, right?
Yes.
And we'll get. I'm jumping ahead. Get into this stuff so much, just trying to just figure this all out. So, and then we'll talk about the rest of this. But really, going back and forth from Jefferson Crossing to Mount, I was trying to I had to spend more time to really get every nook and cranny of minute. But because the authorities don't really they have sometimes, but they don't have all of the pieces. So it's very hard for me to say, oh, there was X amount of time at this location, X amount of time at that location. It kind of muddies it. And of course, a lot of the phones were left at Jefferson Crossing too for a while too. Michelle's and Fotis's at some point in time. So what can we do? Let's follow the blood evidence, because the blood is kind of the trail, either with the evidence or the body. Okay, so that's the next step. So if you look at the Suburban, the back rug part was missing. Okay. And this is big because what? It just fell. Did something just fall?
I'm not quite
sure. That was really weird. Sorry, guys. I just heard this big bang or something back here. Sorry, I got distracted for a bit. So basically, that's missing. Okay. And that's a big piece because let's face it, if that mat had just a couple drops of blood, that may indicate one thing. If it had a huge stain in it, that could mean something else.
More of the body would be in there if it's like a huge stain, most likely.
Exactly.
Versus
a couple droplets. But obviously, it has to be at least substantial enough where he felt like, okay, I can't clean it or what have you, because, and we've seen this before in another video, he gets rid of that mat.
He does. And that's the one he had in Hartford.
Right. And unfortunately, they never recovered that. Ugh. And then for whoever grabbed it, I don't know who, maybe they just threw it out. Maybe my gut feel is whatever does the garbage removal probably just grabbed it and saw it there and just.
I know. When you think if there was a lot of blood, you would think that would.
Well, if it's curled up like that, they probably just took. See, here's what stinks. I'm assuming it's curled up. They probably just took it and threw it in the garbage and nobody looked at it. Because part of it's thinking, too bad, sometimes homeless people out there, it's warmer out, so it's not cold. Because that's, you could use that for, or some people might look at it and say, oh, I can use that for, whatever things that they do for hobbies or whatever. It's carpeting, but. It probably was just grabbed and thrown away, unfortunately, because that would be the big piece of the puzzle. But we could say at least it's substantial enough, right? That it's substantial enough where he had to dispose of it, So my gut feel is, what's your gut feel on this? Do you think it was enough?
I think it definitely was enough.
Her in there. And again, not to get, sorry, I'll have you finish your thought.
Oh, no, I really think that there was enough blood in there where he had to dispose it, like you mentioned, because he could have just, like, maybe wiped it down. He knew that if they was going to check the vehicle and they would have noticed that. I think that would have been a big piece. So he just had to get rid of that piece. But I wish that piece was just found somehow by someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would have been a real major thing. And there's something else I was going to say about this. I can't remember. My brain goes all over the place. But again, it's at least substantial and something to think about. Now, if we look at the red truck, we know the passenger seat of the vehicle had blood stains in it. Now, I blew this up a little bit bigger to show. Now, we know coming back, I believe the bicycle was still in the back of the bed. Put it this way: there was nothing that was suspicious in back of the truck coming back. So pretty much can rule out there was a body, and that type of truck is not a full back seat. And in fact, if you look at a bigger full size truck, I used to have extended cab truck Chirac that wasn't a full second cab, but was what they call extended cab, which is what this is. But this truck is actually smaller than the truck I had. It's like a mid-sized truck. It's not really tiny, but it's like a considered mid-size. Actually, back then it was a little smaller.
Passengers can be in this truck?
I mean, theoretically, if it's a little bed back, a little seat back there, you could fit kind of 4 in there. It's a smaller truck. I'm not saying you can't lay someone down in there, but if you look at this, it doesn't even have you notice it doesn't even have a door. Like mine had like little, even though it was a smaller
a 2-door,
thing.
not a 4-door.
Right. But mine was extended cab. It wasn't a full, second area for seating, but it still had, you could still open the door. This doesn't look like it. I'm looking close here. And it doesn't look like there's a spot where this opens up.
Right.
I could be wrong.
This is where the seats
It
were also
only
changed, though, right? They took all
right.
the seats out. So
But what I'm saying is the back area. There's no way to get to. You can't open this up and get directly to the back area. It
okay,
looks like.
you
And the
open it
reason
in the
why
front, you push it in the back.
what?
You open it from the front, and you just
No, no, no,
push
no,
it in
no,
the
no.
back.
What I'm saying is that if you were to take a dead weight person,
Mm-hmm.
and again, we could say that, and this gets into the questions next, so I don't want to jump around. But let's just say it's a body that hasn't been manipulated in any way. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
And dead weight, because you can't open up this side and it's very small.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just place them in there. So I see where you're going. So what I'm trying to say is you would have to open up this door,
Right.
pull the seat all the way forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, this is so narrow because it's smaller than what I had. And even my big one, you couldn't do it. Well, my small doors opened up.
Right.
You can't do it. So and the passenger seat is too risky. So I guess what I'm saying is it's really hard for me to believe that a body would be in here at all. But let's
Yeah,
right,
I
let's
think it
say.
could be a body in there, like you said. It just maybe not a full body, but usually when somebody's trying to get rid of a body, I think they would try to cut it up. And if you have it, if you cut it up, you actually can have it in there because that's where a lot of they want the bloods. I mean, they actually had the seats removed from this vehicle. This vehicle, they had the seats removed, and because they found a lot of DNA of Jennifer's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So her blood was in this vehicle, and he drove it, so his DNA was in here as well.
Well, here's the thing too. Like,
Oh, it could have been from
how
the
much?
cleanup
I
stuff
mean,
too.
well, exactly.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. What's interesting is the guy who got the old seats kept them around and kept them around
That
because
was good.
something suspicious. Now, again, you and I are just going back and forth. We're just brainstorming. We're thinking
Right.
if it was that much blood, because you see how much blood was left on the clothing and everything, there must have been a lot. So if granted, the body could have been put into
Yeah.
a bag or whatever,
And I just imagine
but
all over the
I would
place.
think it'd be more of a mess. But we just don't know. But and then I don't know, it'd be very risky. So let's think of what are some thoughts here. Further questions. Did anyone meet Fotis at Jennifer's house that morning and took the body, or at the park? I'm just saying, is there another vehicle? Because there was a lot of vehicles. Was there somebody else or people that we knew, but was in the vehicle that maybe the investigators didn't pick up on that helped out in any way? We don't know. These are just thoughts. If she was she moved in? I hate talking about, it's so sad, but moved in, we'll just call in parts, I guess. And then did they come back another day for a body? Did Fotis, Fotis kept his phone at Jefferson Crossing house at 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So was that the time frame that everything was
Yeah.
done as far as disposal, or was there other times? And then they go to another location that wasn't tracked by authorities. I think I mentioned this. So
Yeah.
the whole thing goes back to the very beginning questions because we don't have a lot of information. And I'm keeping tabs to see if more information gets released. But if we're thinking basic logic and basic simple terms, if Jennifer didn't go into that Suburban in any form or fashion, let's just say that,
Right.
then she's got to be somewhere there. Somewhere. We don't know, but somewhere. If she got in there but didn't get into the red truck, then logically it's either going to be somewhere in that park facility. Now, I didn't get into the other discussion of how they found the hole that had lime in it, and it looks like it was pre-dug and all that stuff. Bad enough. This is unfortunately, we can go from logic to feelings and speculation because that's all we have to work. We don't have enough the evidence or the empirical data to really go further with this. But we want to hear what you guys have to say because
Yeah, so that'll be
this is
interesting.
really, really confusing, and see what you guys think.
Very
Is there
convoluted.
something that I missed? Meaning from point A, if in suburban, then in the red truck, do you think that she was in both? And in what manner and how?
Yeah.
Where do you guys feel that where she is?
Very
And
convoluted.
I'm maybe I'll put a community questionnaire poll at some point so we can kind of get your guys' thoughts and more quantifying. Hopefully in the next month
Right.
or
So
two.
we
That
actually going to be near the park, right? We
Yeah,
actually
we're
gonna. So
going to
that's
the
gonna.
park.
We still going to be continuing this, going to the park.
We're gonna go to park in
Have you seen
April.
anything out of the ordinary?
We're just gonna
Maybe
go and
just
check it out, see the
yeah.
dynamics of the place. Meaning
Maybe
the
look at some of the
landscape.
comments they say. Maybe we can act
Yep.
on that as well.
Yep, exactly. So we'll do that. And also, too, in our next couple of months, I like to start these live chats every month because the polls are great, but I'd like to have more interactive and get more ideas. And
I think you say you want to wait till a lot more people,
yeah,
more
we'll wait till we get
subscribers.
closer to the 1,000 before we start that possible.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, because I'd like to do that. And what we're going to do is I'm involved in other true crime when they do live chats and stuff, and they usually have it's very generic, meets. What I like to do, which are good. I like it because we get to go all over the place. But I think for our live chats, when we do it, it'll be from the episodes from the previous week. So it's going to be very directive what we're going to talk
More
about,
structured,
more
right?
structured.
Yeah,
So,
we like
but I
that.
like going off the rails too. But
We
for
unique. We
us,
do
we
ours the
want
way
to do
we want
unique.
to do
Yeah,
it. Our
exactly,
passion, how we want to do ours.
exactly.
We don't just follow others.
Exacto mundo. So I don't know. Let me just do this because I'm not sure if everybody got to see all those questions. So here's the questions that we just went through,
Yeah.
and let us know your thoughts. This is a very sorry I didn't keep it more upbeat, but this is just very sad because
It
I'm
is.
just hoping they find Jennifer for the sake of the family so they can rest. And it's just a shame how this all went down. And there's kids involved too. I mean,
5.
so any event, we'll keep on this for sure.
Yes.
And we thank you guys for your help and sticking in there with us.
Yeah.
And there's more to come for sure. All right. Until
Studio
next time.
70.